Oh, I had to take a seat. I was originally going to do this video standing, but clearly the ban list has swept me off my feet for a very terrible reason. What's going on, my boys? I'm YTDan, back again with another Duel Links video. And in case you aren't aware, Beatdown has been clapped. And we're going to talk about that, my boys. And also, we're going to talk about a lot of other things here. So the first thing we're going to talk about right stat now, is skill rebalancing. So I'm going to address the Garnicia Elephantis in the room. This is it, my boys. They're changing Beatdown to accommodate no one, to help no one. I don't ever remember or ever recall or ever, I don't know, recollect. I can't even fathom anyone complaining that Beatdown was the problem. Beatdown is honestly is a high skill. Beatdown, field spells, any skill that does not alter the hand or search cards or alter your draw are skill-based decks. And by changing Beatdown to what it is now, which basically says you can only use Beatdown once per duel, it's just basically turning it into an OTK only skill, and it doesn't reward OTK players. Like if it has some other benefit, then I would say, you know, all right, I can see the drawback because they're gonna only let you do it once per turn. Like you activate Beatdown, but on that turn your opponent can activate back row. Would that be too good? Probably, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. I have no idea why they're doing this. I mean, whose fault is this? It's my fault. It's your fault. It's all of our faults. I mean, for the last 3 years, or 2 and some change, you know, I kind of forget the original start date for Duel Links, but for the last 2 and some change years, Beatdown has been consistently one of the best skills to use, because like I just said, it rewards strong deck building, and you build a strong deck, and you don't rely on your hand being reshuffled, manipulated, or anything of the sort, and you're just relying on your deck building skills and your gameplay skills. This is why I like Beatdown so much. But you know, there's no more of that. It's only for OTKs. So if you're asking me, does this kill the Hazy deck, my answer would be no. The reason why is because Hazy's has always been a one-turn kill type deck, the type of deck that it was either win on this turn or null. Popping Beatdown, and that's my only Beatdown, typically isn't the problem. You win on one turn with Hazy or you don't. And honestly, a deck is truly defined by its worst matchup, and for the changes that they made with Neos and the Beatdown being popped, it's gonna make it a lot tougher for Hazy's, especially if people are clinging to Neos, because Hazy's biggest struggle was getting over a Neos deck, because Neos could constantly repopulate cards. Even playing against something like Sartorius, using his skill to basically guarantee heads off the barrel dragon effect that does not target is preventable by using Firestorm Vassal. So it's like who are they trying to help with this Beatdown thing? I do not know or understand, but I guess for whatever reason, Konami decided in their infinite wisdom that Beatdown needed to be nerfed above all things, so much to the point where they put that shit right on top so you wouldn't miss it. So rest in peace to Beatdown as we know it. This is the second nerf that had happened to Beatdown in the lifetime of Duel Links, and God help us if they do anything else to Beatdown. Pray they do not alter the deal further. But here is a side hope, a little side thing. Maybe we can get a skill similar to Beatdown, but specifically tied to attributes and archetypes maybe. So for example, if at some point we get a character and he has a beatdown skill, but it basically only works for fire monsters. Wink, wink, Konami. But we need to figure something out, because yeah, I just really feel like that's an odd thing to do to Beatdown. So other things that they've made changes to: Light and Dark, Master of Destiny, Blessing of the Cyber Angels, Fusion Reverse, Dragonic Fusion, Fusion Time, Master of Fusion, and Master of Rights. All these things are cool. I'm glad they made changes to all this. This is my only questionable thing. Only questionable decision is Beatdown. But Light and Dark did need this kind of restriction added to it. It's basically telling you to reduce your life points by 1,000, and then you can do the whole switcheroo thing. But again, it's not that big a restriction. You know, play Cosmic Cyclone. People already was doing that in the Light and Dark decks anyway. So like, yeah, just play Cosmic Cyclone, whatever. That's a further push to your credit card. I feel like any time of these pay 1,000 life point decrease skills come up, it's always just, you know, hey, please play more Cosmic Cyclone. I feel like that's what that screams. The Master of Destiny, they basically tried to improve this skill by adding a brick to the skill. You know, 7 cards with coin flips. Yeah, that can make your deck terribly inconsistent, but I mean, I feel like people will still run this deck because they can still run the Barrel Dragon Dark Monster Cup of Ace combo. Honestly, Cup of Ace is just too fucking good. Get rid of Cup of Ace. Just drop that. You can keep your skill exactly the same, in my opinion. Just get rid of Cup of Ace. Cup of Ace is the problem. If you play Cup of Ace instead of Dekoichi, and then Dekoichi is smacked and you draw a card and special summon Barrel Dragon and blow up my cards, that is way too good. Get rid of Cup of Ace. Leave the skill alone. Skill was fine, just Cup of Ace was too good, but whatever. Blessing of the Cyber Angels can only be used if your life points are at 2,000 or below. Instead of conducting a normal draw, you can pull a Cyber Angel monster of your choice and add it to your hand from outside the deck. This skill is bananas because now we have Cyber Petite Angel at 1, meaning you can run Treacherous Trap Hole, Cyber Petite Angel, Blessing of the Cyber Angels, meaning you can run Treacherous and 2 Petite Cyber Angels, or 2 Cyber Petite Angels, unless that's not within this Blessing of the Cyber Angel skill, then that'd be an oof on my part, but I'm pretty sure it is. So you can pretty much run 2 Cyber Petite Angels with Treacherous. That's going to bring Cyber Angels back. Being able to run Treacherous in any deck is strong enough to turn the tides in most games. Fusion Reserve Roids, the changes that they made here are kind of like whatever. I'm sure people can play with Roids and have like fun with it, but you know, I don't really predict this being too competitive. Dragonic Fusion, you can now add Dragonic Fusion directly to your hand, pretty much similar to Switcheroo, but the problem with this, in my personal opinion, is that it's 1,500 and not 1,000, which I don't understand why they choose to put some at 15 and some at 1,000. Oh, it's way too good. Like, no, just make it 1,000 and make it easier to play. But whatever, it's at 1,500 and you can do this flip flop switcheroo. And it's not like I wanted to use my Dragon's Mirror to play a King Dragoon deck. Just release Dragon's Mirror as a regular card. Just come on, just whatever. But they're not going to drop Dragon's Mirror as a regular card for some reason, even though they have all these other ridiculous cards in the game. Dragon's Mirror can't be in the game for some reason, so whatever. Fusion Time, decrease your life points by 1,500, return a card in the hand, grab a poly, and then you can add an elemental hero normal monster from your graveyard to the hand, which is pretty spicy. Again, 1,500, not 1,000, so it's not really as accessible. So boo to that. Master of Fusion, they want you to play this one. Take down your life points by 1,000, return 1 card in your hand to the deck, and add a polymerization to your hand out from outside your deck. You can only use this twice per duel, and this is clutch. So you can pretty much run Master of Fusion playing invokes, and now you don't have to run King of the Swamp. just play Cosmic Cyclone. Isn't that great? Master of Rites can only be used each time your life points decrease by 1,000, so they want you to use it. Pay 1,000 of those things and return one card from your hand to the deck and choose one of the following: add a random ritual monster, add a random ritual spell. Great. I'll run my Cosmic Cyclone. I'll run 2 Cosmic Cyclones in my deck, twice per duel, and also I will add my advanced ritual art or monster that I'm targeting with my advanced. So yes, I do enjoy all these changes, all these changes that where the life points were set to 1,000. Blessing of the Cyber Angels was set at 2,000. I think that's fair actually, because half of your life points is gone before you have access to a free Cyber Petite Angel. I'm pretty sure Cyber Petite Angel is here, but yeah, I agree with that. I just don't agree with this beatdown, and I just really feel like that's a misguided choice. Let's talk about the monster cards. So outside of just skill rebalancing, they made some changes to the Forbidden Unlimited list. It's very quick and straightforward, so we'll just go through this, but I want to start at the no longer on the list and just give you my take here. They're removing beatdown. So since beatdown is gone, you won't be able to play Sylvans well, you can still play Sylvans, and I think the way that Sylvans was played before with beatdown, it would definitely change the deck. I mean, you'd really have to have a pretty well constructed Sylvan deck to make sure that you can use beatdown. Now the ironic thing is I had the perfect Sylvan deck ready to go for when these martial leaves go back to 3. However, beatdown is just dead, so now I have to rethink that deck completely. Right, the flavor text, the reasoning next to them bringing Sylvans back is: we are removing this card from the Forbidden Limit list as we believe having 3 copies of this card is no longer overpowered in the current metagame. Sylvan Martial Leaf is no longer overpowered because now people can special summon Neos, Brave Neos, for fucking free if they pay money for Keeper of the Dragon magic. Coincidence? Nah, bruh. Destiny Hero Celestial. They're popping him off at the list, and they're gonna go ahead and let us run 3 of this. I think it's about time because we also have the Destiny Hero Hand Trap that boosts all Destiny Heroes by 800 attack points. I think it's either all or one by 800 attack points. I'm not really sure. We now have 2 of those cards now. One that you get from a level up rewards and one that you got from recent pick a card if you pick the gems instead. Fool. I think this is a pretty good, oh no, it wasn't a pick a card. It was a little daily pick thing. So if you didn't get one yet, fool. Samurai Skull. This card's coming off the list. Yeah, it's gonna be at 3. My personal opinion on that, I really felt like when they put it on the list, it was like, whatever, it's off the list, whatever. This is more controversial, honestly. Limited to 2, and I'll couple it in with a limited to 1. So basically they're taking a big swing at Dark Lords for whatever reason. In my personal opinion, I'm sure that you guys watch or know of the Decade tournaments, which pretty much set the meta in terms of what people have in their mind as what the best deck is. So far, when I play on ranked PvP, I rarely run into Dark Lord decks. I run into Sartorius decks, running Master of Destiny and Neos way more often. This particular KOG rank up season, I ran into a few Dark Lord decks, but you know, it wasn't really that big a deal. It really wasn't. It was just a good match, a lot of back and forth, and you can kind of take it or leave it for if you enjoy that type of gameplay. But you know, I just feel like Dark Lords did not need this hit. They were not that broken. I mean, they were good. It's a strong, consistent deck, but you got stuff like Neos running around, for God's sakes. Like, that's the deck that needed the most attention, along with Sartorius, and they hit everything around it and vaguely brushed against Sartorius and vaguely brushed against Neos. So whatever. So Neos Fusion has been dropped to 2. and with Neos Fusion being dropped to 2, pretty much people are going to continue running Neos as they already were. By forcing your opponent to play 2 Neos Fusion and 2 Neos is not really that big a deal in terms of deck building wise, but honestly in terms of your opponent being able to recover is a huge deal. Having 3 Neos Fusions in the grave and 2 or 3 Brave Neos on board is ridiculously hard to overpower unless you got something like Mistworm or Crystron, Quarion, Gandrax, my boy. You're not getting out of that situation. So it's a pretty interesting choice there to put it to 2, but everyone is really talking, like the muttering in the community is that this is a blatant cash grab. Konami is just literally getting money with this move, and I feel like, yeah, makes sense. This is kind of a cash grab. I can see that. Instead of running 3 Neos Fusions, you now have to run 3 Keeper of the Dragon Magic if you want your Neos deck to remain consistent, but people are already playing 3 Keeper of the Dragon Magic. So this really, I don't feel like it's really hitting Neos. If they really wanted to hit Neos, they would have put Neos Fusion to 1. But a big side piece to this being at 2 means that you can't play Neos Fusion and Treacherous, Neos Fusion and Econ, Neos Fusion and everything else. And honestly, this particular Forbidden and Limited list directly nerfs that undefeated Neos Fusion Monarch deck that I was playing, which honestly was broken last season and it's still broken this season. People are still sending me messages telling me that they're going undefeated with that deck, and they're just sweeping across the entire meta with that deck. And I know why Neos Fusion Monarchs never really popped off in terms of popularity in the meta. Honestly, it's because it was too expensive. It's not because it was too big brain. It was just that people just can't afford to play such a deck, and that's a barrier to entry in and of itself. So I kind of feel like they should have done more to nerf Neos, but making sure that Neos can't run some of the strongest spells and traps in the game along with Neos Fusion is a long way, because Neos Fusion, set Treacherous Trap, throw Bacon Saver in the grave. How are you going to get around that unless you have the perfect hand, which is Cosmic Cyclone and Crystron, Quarion, Gandrax? But anyway, let's talk about World Legacy Clash. Now, World Legacy Clash, I was just going to make a video talking about the strongest free-to-play cards in Duel Links, and honestly, World Legacy Clash was going to be that card that I was going to talk about. But now, I mean, I guess it's a bit of a moot point, if not it has been limited to 2, but I'll give you my thoughts on World Legacy Clash here. I don't think it should have been limited to 2. You're giving this card the status of enemy controller when it honestly is not. Enemy controller can be top decked and the game can be won from enemy controller with no other support. Your top deck for enemy controller could stall 1 turn to get you to the next card to win the game. If I'm top decking and I top deck World Legacy Clash and have no monsters, similar scenario to that enemy controller scenario, then I can't use World Legacy Clash because I don't have a monster, and then I lose. Also, if I set World Legacy Clash and I don't have a monster on the board and this card is destroyed, I have nothing I can chain it to. I can't even quickly use it to switch a monster to defense mode or quickly change a monster's attack to 0. You can't do anything if you don't have a monster. So I feel like the cost for this card, having a monster on the field and also removing the monster, is pretty fair. But then you think about how this card can negate a battle and also cut a monster's attack to basically 0 depending on how strong your monsters are, and then run this card in a deck with Neos Fusion is pretty deadly, because dropping a monster by 2600 is pretty much dropping the monster's attack to 0 in reality. So it is, I don't know, it's an interesting choice, but I do find that it's questionable to put this card on the level of Treacherous Trap Hole and Enemy Controller, 2 cards that can win the game by themselves with no other support, and this card at least needs you to have 1 more card. So I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I do agree that keeping this card away from Neos Fusion is pretty, you know, is a strong choice. Keeping it away from Neos Fusion is a good move. So if nothing else but that, okay, pat on the back, Konami. So that's my thoughts and opinions there. You know, I do agree with the list on some standpoints, some levels. Oh, I forgot to talk about Cyber Petite Angel, but I mean, that's pretty obvious. Now it's gonna be at 1, so now you can run this card with Treacherous, with Blessing of the Cyber Angel, so Treacherous, Cyber Petite Angel, and you know, the second one from the skill. But my overall opinion of this is they overreached on Beatdown. They didn't do enough for Neos Fusion. I really felt like this should be a one-of card. You should not be able to play more than one Neos Fusion, and Treacherous, for that matter, should be on the list as a one-of, because most people play it at 1 anyway. Running 2 is overkill in Brick City. So people don't run 2, they only run 1. So if you put Treacherous on 1 and then you put Neos Fusion on 1, I would have been kind of happy with that, but whatever. I just really don't like that they messed with World Legacy Clash, because it's a free-to-play card that, you know, is just a strong card to play. It's a tactical card. It can help you out in many situations, but it has huge drawbacks when you're losing. So I think that, you know, this card is definitely something that they could have left alone, but with the intro of Thunder Dragons, this card has become a little bit busted. But again, you have to be playing Thunder Dragons. So controversial World Legacy Clash, controversial Beatdown being changed, and Dark Lords being smacked for some reason, and I really don't feel that Dark Lords deserve to be smacked that hard. Dark Lords are nothing like, for example, Kokimaru's. Kokimaru was very powerful, and that deserved the smack. But Dark Lords, I don't feel that same amount of dread. I literally have more dread playing against Sartorius and his coin flips versus playing against Dark Lords, but that's just my opinion on it. But thank you guys, my boys, for watching this video. I appreciate y'all for checking this out. Don't forget to check out the last KOG with Beatdown on my channel, which is my Thunder Dragon deck. That is phenomenal. You should play it while you still can, my boys. Play it in this classic way in which it was discovered, because next month is going to be completely different to take on a new meta and take on new challenges. But as always, my boys, thanks so much for watching, and keep it dang.